Taoiseach, 5 weeks ago tomorrow, I had leaders' questions here. I brought up about a particular tough case that's going on for the last 2 to 3 years. Young Sean. Young Sean is eating the couch at the moment, as well as opening the fridge and breaking all the delf, as well as going out and breaking the windows of the cars. Young Sean is still left the same way. And in fairness to your office, and the person, I'm not going naming people, but the person in your office has rang me on several times. But I think there's a reality here, Taoiseach, and a sad reality we all must face. We had the Minister for Disabilities on this. We had every minister in health involved in it. We are going to the top to you as our Taoiseach of this country. And unfortunately, all we have had meetings, meetings, meetings. Waffle, waffle, waffle. And all we have got at the end of it is a father that's desperate, siblings that have been assaulted in the same situation. And then go to the other side of it. A neighbour of my own, a lady in her late 70s, that was to get a bed in the Beaumont, where the family took the week off on 5 occasions, took an apartment in Dublin at a cost to themselves, took time off work to be with their mother, and every time it has been cancelled. More waffle, waffle, waffle. And isn't it a sad situation that the Taoiseach of our country, or our ministers, the money was given. But if I'm the boss of a company, or if I'm the boss of something, I tell someone, you do that, or you don't. One or the other. But there's 2 choices. You either do it, and if you don't produce the goods, you don't be there. The charity sector that the money was given to has failed this country. That's a sign of victory. When you look at people, they have turned that around the other way. And you know what they have told you. Your own office, I've talked to them, I'm not blaming them. There's a person in there, in fairness, every day has nearly contacted me. But isn't there something awful wrong with this country in 2024 when a youngster is down in County Roscommon eating a couch? When a woman is lying at home bent over where fluid has to be drained from her brain, and that cancelled 5 times. And we talk about all the money we have, and we talk about Ireland going forward. And what have we done? We've left these people desolate at the moment. Is that the type of governance that we should basically talk about or be proud of in 2024? Thank you.
Taoiseach, please.
No, it isn't. It absolutely isn't. And there's nothing that I can say or I'm going to attempt to say to suggest that it is. Because you raised the case of Sean Sullivan here 5 weeks ago, and you told it all in very vivid terms, very graphic terms, and I say that respectfully, of the huge challenges that Sean's father was and clearly is experiencing, and his concerns for the welfare of the rest of his family, for the welfare of Sean, and I'm sure for the welfare of himself. And as you rightly say, and I thank you for acknowledging it, my own office has been liaising intensively with Minister Rabbitte, and I must say Minister Rabbitte has been working very hard on this case and continuing to liaise intensively with the HSE to try and reach a resolution to what is a very difficult, I don't say that to be dismissive, but a very difficult situation. I understand the HSE met with Sean's father last week. Now, they have acknowledged the slow pace of securing a residential placement, which I think is a bit of an understatement. Funding does, as you say, remain in place. So this is not, as you've been clear on, this is not an issue of government funding. There's often in this House issues of government funding. This is not one of those issues. And now we're being told that the Brothers of Charity are trying to stand up a residential service and that they're trying to recruit and source a suitable property within the county. Now, this week, and I take what you said about meetings and waffle, and so I'm conscious of that as I say the next sentence, but my understanding is this week there's a further meeting scheduled between the HSE, the Brothers of Charity and the family. Minister Rabbitte's going to go to that meeting herself to express the government's utter dissatisfaction with the bureaucracy and how long this situation is going on. Look, the broader point you make about the charity sector, there's a validity in it, and I don't say that to, and nor do you, I know. I don't say that to cast a kind of cloud over the sector or anything like that. Lots of good work happens in relation to that. But often the person with the disability isn't as empowered as they should be, or their family, in terms of what happens with the money that's allocated. And that's why I very much would like to see, and I know Minister Rabbitte would too, a greater use of the personalised budget model, where you're actually empowering the person or their family with the funding. So you're not leaving it up to anybody, another organisation, to kind of get their act together or get a service in place. I'm sorry my answer isn't more satisfactory. It's a really, really, really devastating situation for Sean and his family. What I can assure you is right up to my office, we're monitoring this extremely closely. I'm very sorry that Sean has been failed. And Minister Rabbitte, I know, will attend that meeting scheduled this week with the HSE and the Brother Charity, and I'll speak with her directly and keep in touch with you as well. On Beaumont as well, if you want to give me the details, I can talk to the Minister for Health.
Thank you, Taoiseach. Deputy Fitzmaurice.
Thank you, Taoiseach. I have acknowledged the person in your office, that they have been in constant contact. I am not having a go at anybody here. What I am having a go at is, since then, a meeting, another meeting next Thursday. Talk. But there's only one thing. The HSE have said, we have no resolution. Imagine that. That's the facts. The HSE have said, we have no resolution. So we're going to go into a meeting again Thursday, and we'll be within for another hour, and we'll be all around the table, and we'll hear the same thing until go on again. That's not the way you treat people with severe autism. That's not the way you treat families in Ireland. And on the other side of it, Taoiseach, I've talked about an elderly person. I'm bringing it from one side at you. Sean has just turned 18. We were promised this for 2 years, that if we weathered the storm, and by God his father did, he'd have a place the day he was 18. And then on the other side, I have a neighbour that needs a drain from her brain of fluid, and 5 times. And that family, they're not millionaires. They're ordinary working people that are after renting an apartment in Dublin a few times to have accommodation while their mother would be in the hospital. And that has been basically cancelled every time. Why? Because they say the word that comes back is no beds. That's the word that's coming back from them. Whereas with Sean, they hadn't a house, then they had a house, they hadn't staff, then they were recruiting staff. You quoted it there yourself about staff. I'm hearing about staff the last 18 months. In private business, if I go in as a subby to someone, and I go in with tractors and dump trailers, I cannot say, oh, geez, sorry lads, I've no staff. You'll be kicked out the door. That's the way it works. That's the ruthlessness of the private sector and how it works, and that's why it delivers. But in the public sector at the moment, there is no accountability, whether it's the HSE or whether it's the charity sector, whether we like that or whether we don't, and they're not listening to politicians, which is a damnable sad thing to see.
Taoiseach.
Yeah, look, I think, I mean, you said to me that the HSE have said there's no resolution, and I don't doubt at all what you've heard. I mean, what they're telling me is that they're trying to do 2 things. They're trying to secure a property in the county, and that they, in parallel, are running, when I say they, I mean the Brothers of Charity, in parallel, they're running the recruitment to staff up that service. That's what they're telling me is happening. Look, I think the most frustrating thing in terms of when I say Sean is being failed is Sean didn't arrive 18. And there's been a period of time here that clearly wasn't effectively used. It's not an issue. I've had them in my own constituency in the past where there has been funding issues in relation to this. In this case, the funding has been provided. Clearly, the preparatory work was not done, and Sean has been failed. The question I ask rhetorically, which I will endeavour to find the answer to now, is, with the funding in place, can anything be done in the interim, even in terms of in-reach for Sean and his family? Because there is funding in place that isn't being used currently. So I will inquire further in relation to that. Regarding the constituent waiting for the bed in Beaumont Hospital, it sounds like a very serious situation she's waiting for. So if you want to send me the details, the Minister for Health can pursue that with the hospital.
Thank you, Taoiseach.